unmute. Now you can hear me. Sweet. Okay, cool. So let me unfreeze. Got to push all types of buttons up here. I want to start off. We went through the seating chart already until the 13th. So you have these spots for a little bit. We have a new phone policy because I'm noticing among all my classes, it's becoming too distracting. I know I'm a victim of this too. I understand. But there are points in time where I do need you to focus up and be paying attention. And so in order to do that, we're going to follow the state testing rule for phones. And that is to zip them into our bags. We tried this at the start of the year, if I remember correctly. We're going to try it again. But I'm going to be a little bit more of a not be on your desk. It can be in the water bottle pocket. It needs to be out of your field of view. All I'm asking. Out of sight, out of mind. So it's like a lot over off. The phone should be zipped up. All right, so I'm not going to talk the whole time. In fact, now that we are less distracted, ideally, I'll need even less time to talk about stuff. So this is only when we are on the air. Please be legit about it. Don't try to sneak it out once I start going and stop paying attention. Don't ask for much of y'all. So this is what I do ask, and I feel like it's pretty fair. So when we're on the air, your phones need to be away, zipped up, put away out of your view, because that's when I really need your attention. And by extension, when we go off the air, that time is yours. That time is yours to either use or abuse. If you would rather spend the remainder of your period, the work time that I'm giving you, to be on your phone or be distracted by various other things, that is your call. Just keep in mind there's going to be consequences of that. Not finishing your work on time, not quite understanding what I'm asking. You guys get that. But that's your choice. I'm giving you guys some adult level freedom here because I know you guys are almost there. I'm emailing parents just about this change. It's not disciplinary at the start, but if it becomes an issue between you and I and the live on air thing, then we can talk further. That's what the emailing parents is right here. So if you've not already seen the Monday morning message, I'm going to play that real quick. But before we do that, you have your first deadline tonight. So anything up until Unit 6, 6.1 and 6.2 are included, will not be accepted after midnight tonight. Okay, that's anything from the start of the semester up until before we went to break, basically. You have until midnight tonight to get that in. Done is better than perfect, right? I know a 40% on an assignment looks pretty ugly. It's not a great feeling to turn something in and get a bad grade on it. However, a bad grade beats a 0 every single time, right? Just so that we have good amounts of paperwork. You guys have had plenty of time to communicate with me and plenty of time to finish up these assignments. So done is better than perfect. If it's halfway done, you'll still get some points. If it's barely started, you will still get a little bit of points. It is better than a 0 every single time. This is about adult life too. I've done a lot of stuff like halfway just because it had to get finished. You'll finish it later or you won't, right? Sometimes it just happens that way all throughout life. So done is better than perfect. Keep this in mind. All right, so I'm going to play the Monday message real quick. If you've not seen it already, you'll get to. If you have, congratulations, you'll get to memorize it. Let me pull that up real quick. I had it. There it is. All right. It's only like a minute, and then we'll get into our next thing. that we have a lot less school than you think. It's going to sneak up on us really fast. It's basically the rest of April, May, and then that's pretty much it. We're going to be totally done by June 7th. So that's our next upcoming deadline for the majority of the assignments, including Project 6.3. So we're going to talk about this more during your block day. Today is just kind of getting reacclimated to school, right? Project 6.3 is your design environment that we talked about before we went to break. Remember, it's got a deadline of the 7th, and it's not due until Wednesday at midnight. And we're going to talk during your block day about texture, how to add it, how to make it look nicer. Real quick, I want to show you why we do that because I forgot this part from first period. So let's go into here. I have this link, which I will put in your thread, that has a really comprehensive set of ways that you can add texture to your Illustrator projects. There's also Mr. Hendrix's videos, which will be able to be found in the helpful videos section. But ultimately, what is the point? Why do we even bother to add the texture to our digital projects? Isn't the whole point of digital it being really clean, right? Yes and no. Texture is a way to create a sort of like human interaction, human, what's the word I'm looking for? Involvement, maybe human-centric sort of thing with your digital designs. By adding texture, it makes it feel a lot more real because you can imagine what it would be like to touch it or hold it or, you know, manipulate it in the real world. And that's what graphic design, when you start learning, it kind of lacks because all the digital lines are so clean, they're so crisp, there's no imperfections, it looks a little too perfect. So this is specific to web design, but it also works for graphic design. By adding texture to your projects, there's a difference between a texture and a pattern, which we'll get into here real quick. Texture is going to make your design really come alive. It's going to turn it into something that's a lot more real, even though your digital work is already real. This is a way to just take it up that extra level and make it seem like it could have come out of the real world entirely, right? The difference between a pattern and a texture is a pattern is something that repeats over and over again, whereas a texture has inconsistencies, imperfections. It adds that humanness. It adds that creation of, you know, just creativeness to your designs to make them a little bit more appealing and a little bit more easily understandable. Graphic design is one of those art forms that tends to be invisible because we are exposed to it so much. And when it's well done, it blends all these different pieces together. But just like in an art piece, just like an artist or a painter, sculptor, performer, musician, all those different types of arts, they're putting in effort and making choices on purpose. And that's what we're doing here. To communicate, it's all about communication, right? So this is why we really want to be using them to evoke certain feelings, just to make our pieces look a little bit more visually interesting, kind of cut some of the cleanliness of the digital design. And it's just ways to make your designs look cooler. So I will put both of these links in your thread because I did not do it for yours. My bad. And that's what we're going to be focusing on tomorrow in our block day to add to your final design spaces. So that's all I have to really show you here. You have the rest of the period when we go off the air is your time to either work on 6.3, keep creating that animal or person foreground and then a midground background like we talked about in last week's Zoom rooms. Or you can work on submitting different assignments that maybe you haven't finished, maybe you're halfway done, maybe you haven't started, you could look into that. The time is yours, but that's what just kind of as a preview for the week and getting resynced and reacquainted with school stuff. Oh, I also have linked your YouTube playlist. If you've not checked this out, it's mostly Zoom rooms, but there are a couple of cool videos like on that link I showed you from first period's thread that you can access, that you can check out on your own time. Excuse me, hiccups. If you want to. It's not going to load right now, of course, but that's what we're working with. This is due Wednesday at midnight. So you have today and your block day to finish it up. Sound good? Any questions, comments, concerns? Cool. We're going to go off the air. You can pull your phones back out. That was perfect. That's what I look for every time we're going to go on the air. All right. Sweet. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Okay, we're off. Time is yours. If it would let me end the meeting, that would be